Hi, this is Gary with MACMOST.com. Let me update you on the latest online scams. MACMOST is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 1,000 supporters. Go to MACMOST.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So it used to be pretty easy to spot most online scams because they always seem to be asking for gift cards. Very often iTunes gift cards. This was always a red flag. No legitimate business or government agency was going to want payment with gift cards. A lot of people still fell for these scams, but hopefully you didn't. However, today a lot of times they're asking for payment using legitimate payment services like Venmo, Zelle, Apple Cash, and other methods. These are all great ways to transfer money between you and family and friends. You can split a bill at a restaurant. You can pay a handyman. But they can also be used by scammers because they're quick and easy to do completely online. So one thing to look for is when you're doing a transaction online, like say buying an item or a service, and the other party wants to move from the current platform to another platform to get payment. Never go to a second location, right? So if you're on eBay and suddenly the person wants to pay you by Venmo or some other way instead of staying on eBay, that's a red flag. Insist that they stick with the platform you're currently using and don't let them take you somewhere else where they can pull a scam on you. Now if you are accepting payment from somebody you've never met on an online system like Venmo, Apple Cash, or something like that, a common way they get you is not by getting money from you first, but by giving you money. Now you may think, how can that be bad if they're giving you money? Well, a lot of times what they'll do is they'll intentionally overpay. So for instance, you may expect getting $30 from them for something you're selling and you end up getting $300. And they come back and say they made a mistake and they need you to send money back to them. And a lot of times this will come with a lot of pressure. They'll say it's really important, they get it, they got to make rent, they have to pay medical bills, whatever it is, and they need you to do that right away. Now it may seem harmless if you see that you have $300 from them in some online account. Sending back $270 may not seem like a big deal. But in fact, they may have a way to reverse that charge, or they're probably just using a stolen credit card to pay you anyway. So when that charge gets reversed by the real card holder, you're stuck with the fact that you sent somebody $270 and you can't get that back. There are a lot of variations on this scam. I suggest you read the page at wikipedia.com which goes into detail about a lot of the different ways this can work. Sometimes when you're online, somebody will say they send you money and then show you proof that they did. Or maybe you'll even get an email that seems to come from the service like Venmo or Zelle saying that the money's been sent to you. But if you don't check, you wouldn't notice that the money actually hasn't been sent to you. It's just a fake email. So you send the item to the person without ever receiving payment. An even worse variation on this is an email that you get saying that you have payment but it's being held for some reason and you need to pay a fee in order to get it. Remember, it's really easy to fake emails even down to the line that says who it's from, and every piece of information on it can be pretty legitimate. But in fact, that email didn't come from that financial service but came from the same scammer that you've been talking to about selling that item. Another variation on getting overpaid is getting accidentally paid. So you weren't actually talking to anybody at all. You just suddenly got a payment by Venmo or some other system and you don't even know the person. You don't know what it's about at all, but it seems like you've really got the money. Somebody has actually paid you using a stolen credit card number and then maybe they get in touch with you and say they want you to send them the money back. If it was a legitimate accident, which never happens, they would just go back and request that the transaction be canceled. They're trying to trick you into making a legitimate transaction of you sending them money, and eventually the money you received, that's wiped out because it was a stolen credit card. Now this one gets more and more common and more sophisticated. It's known as the grandparent scam, or I like to just call it family in need scam. You get a phone call or a message, sometimes on social media, pretending to be somebody you know, a family member, and they're in trouble. They need help. They're on vacation somewhere. They need payment sent because they've been put in jail or the hotel bill isn't paid or something like that. A lot of times a scammer is able to get personal details in different ways to make you think it's real. And of course our desire to want to help our loved ones plays into this, so we want to react quickly and help that person out. Then of course there are romance scams. And the idea is you start an online relationship, perhaps just a friendship at first, then it gets a little more romantic, and it goes on for quite a while, and then some sort of emergency presents itself where the other person needs money and you send it to them. Usually this works because of the length of the scam. If somebody we met yesterday asks for money today, our alarm bells go off. But if it goes on for 6 months, we tend to trust that person more, even though if you think about it, you've never actually met them in person. The important thing to remember is that while the relationship may have been a big part of your life over the last few months, for the scammer they probably have dozens or even hundreds of other people on the line and they're not emotionally invested. So it's really not much work for them. People tend to trust because of all the time they've put into the relationship, forgetting that the other person really hasn't put much time and effort into the relationship in the scam. Never send money to someone you've never met in person. Another common type of scam that uses online payment methods is the rental or vacation rental scam. So you find a listing online, maybe for an apartment, maybe you're moving to a new city, or maybe it's just a vacation rental for a week during the summer. You see pictures, you see information and all of that. It all seems legitimate. You even email back and forth with questions. And then it comes time to send money, so you send it without thinking. What's actually happened, of course, is the person has stolen all the pictures, the description, and all of that from a legitimate listing, maybe one from a long time ago, and you just sent them money and they have nothing to rent to you. Check out this FTC page about these rental scams, things to look for, and ways to avoid them. Now you may have heard of but not experienced any of those scams so far, but you probably have seen these. These are email messages you get. They seem to come from legitimate companies, ones you've heard of before, asking for payment for something you didn't buy. So for instance, here's one that seems to come from Microsoft for buying Windows Defender for $400. Here's another one from NortonLifeLock asking for $650. And here's a third one for Geek Squad asking for $239. What these all usually have in common is a message about if you didn't authorize this charge or if you think there's fraud or something like that, then call this number, click this link, email this address. That's exactly what they want you to do. Nothing's been charged to you. This is just an email that's gone out to millions of people in hopes that a few of them will fall for it and call that number. Then once you call that number, they'll try to get information from you, maybe even banking information saying they're going to refund the money when in fact what they're doing is using that information to extract money from you. All these messages are just spam. Just delete them. And also you find some advice about look at the email address. If it's fake, the email address won't be legitimate. Don't rely on that because email addresses can be completely fake. So it can look completely legitimate except for maybe the toll-free number they give you to call or maybe one link that they give you to click, even if the other links actually take you to the right place. Another type of email you may get is that you won the lottery or a prize or a free item or something like that. And then if you actually respond to them, whether it's online or something, then they may ask you for all sorts of information in order to send you the prize. And they're actually using that information to steal your identity or get money from one of your accounts. Another particularly nasty version of this is when you get a message, sometimes a phone call, that seems to be from your bank or some other company you do business with saying that there might be some kind of fraud. Can you confirm this information? And they're actually trying to get information from you. If you get information about fraud or something may charge your credit card or to Venmo, to Zelle, or to any other way to do online transactions, ignore all the contact information in that notification and instead go to the legitimate website or call the real number that you know for that company and ask them about it. Chances are it's a scam, but if you feel the need to check up on it, then never use the contact information provided in the messages that you receive about it. Now one last one that I want to mention that may be the worst of them all, and that's the victim scam. And that's when maybe you've been hit by one of these and then a few weeks or a month later you get a message or an email or a phone call claiming to be from somebody that's trying to help you, maybe from your bank or from Venmo or Zelle or whatever, and they're trying to get you your money back. Remember, if you've been scammed, there are three parties that know about the scam. You, the legitimate company, because you presumably contacted them and tried to fix things, and the scammer. So in this case, it would be the scammer that knows exactly the details of how you've been scammed, but you trust the information because it seems to be from your bank or whoever, and they end up pulling another scam on you in the guise of helping you get your money back from the previous scam. So for me as a general rule, I only ever use systems like Venmo, Zelle, or Apple Cash when I know the person. I've met them in real life, they're a friend, a family member, or maybe somebody that's done some work like a handyman, landscaper, that kind of thing. There's the real world connection with them. Now when it comes specifically to Apple Cash, Apple actually has a page about how to be safe using it. And it runs through some of the scams that you may see with Apple Cash. The best way to protect yourself from these scams or any kind of online scams is to just educate yourself about them so you recognize them when they're happening. Hope you found this useful. Stay safe. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, click the thumbs up button below to let me know. I publish new tutorials each weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out.